Hello, everyone. My name's Marius, and today I'm going to talk to you about Retail Reimagined. A little bit of background about myself. I have 8 years of experience in the professional technology space. So this goes everywhere from kind of developing mobile applications. In the past couple of years, moving into the cloud, I've been a DBA admin. And then most recently, I've kind of been focusing on the emerging technology space. So blockchain, AR, IoT, and that stack. But one of my passions is solving real world problems through full stack application development. So thinking about the front end, the middleware piece, and then connect it to the back end portion and think about that entire lineage. In Retail Reimagined, I like to think about how customers and shops interact and how we can change that and move that into the future. I'm going to take you through Retail Reimagined in kind of three easy steps. I'm going to talk about the platform. We're going to experience the difference from a couple of different stories and angles, and then we'll get into the pricing. Traditionally, the way that stores target customers is through kind of traditional means. So every store is going to have some kind of sale. Every store is going to have some kind of coupon. For me as a customer, what ends up happening is I end up suffering through kind of discount fatigue. Every store is going to have 10, 15, 20% off, so it's not something that I even think about, so it doesn't really apply to me. What ends up happening is we have no true customer insights. The only insight a store has into the customer base is when they have a transaction or when they complete the transaction. But you don't have any information about a customer that kind of walks in and doesn't buy anything. That's very valuable. So our results become very limited. And then the customer experience is very stagnant. So every time a customer comes into the store, it's the same experience every single time. They know what they're getting. They're never surprised and they're never wowed. First, I like to target loyalty programs. Loyalty programs are very hit or miss. Usually when you have to sign up for a new program, you don't sign up. So by eliminating this, what we can do is we can have automatic loyalty program enrollment. So as soon as someone walks into your store, they're automatically signed up for your program and they're starting to accrue points. By doing so, we can then innovate new means to reward our customers, and we'll get into that a little bit. And then we can increase retention rates, which is what we want in the end. We can also start talking about real-time customer route tracking. So we can track individual customer paths through our store. So each customer's journey is unique, and then each customer's journey is going to tell us a story about that customer. And then by having this data, we can provide a guided customer experience. So we can start guiding customers to certain areas of our store that they may not usually go to that we think they should go and visit to. And then we can have more complete insights into our hot spots and our popular zones instead of just having hunches. Then collect, obviously, demographic information. Age and gender, these are very kind of low-hanging fruit, but there's going to be a lot more analytics that we're going to be getting as well. And then from this, we can have more intelligent inventory, right? If you know every Sunday between the hours of 8 a.m. and 2 p.m., a certain crowd goes into your store, you're going to kind of have your inventory a little bit later. I used to work at a supermarket, and between those hours every Sunday, that's when the church crowd would come in, so it would cater to the church crowd. And then sentiment analysis is very important. So we want to know when a customer is lost, when a customer is not happy, or when a customer is angry. I think conversion rate is very important. So turning visitors into customers is something that's key. And tying that to the customer traffic, we can start thinking about tracking non-purchaser, tracking customers who may walk into our store but don't buy anything. So what is the rate that this is happening, and how we can turn those customers or those visitors into customers. Proximity marketing is something that's very difficult that we can kind of accomplish in the real world, but I can show you an example of how it is much easier in this example and how we can kind of do it effectively and efficiently. So if a customer walks by a certain aisle and you want to give them a coupon that's something within arm's reach to kind of entice them a little bit more to buy that item, you want to be able to do that and do it efficiently and effectively so that opportunity does not kind of go away. So when we're talking about this technology, we kind of have to think of it from a human perspective, right? So here we kind of see me, and we may ask a stupid question like, where is my face, right? We can very plainly see that within this kind of area, we have my face. So it's very innate in humans to kind of know this information or tell this information. But for computers, this is much more challenging. This is much more difficult. And only until recently were we able to kind of solve this problem. And only recently were we able to kind of put analytics around this problem as well. So something we can do is we can start tracking users' bodies. So we know where a user's eyes are relative to their nose, relative to their ears, but also their shoulders relative to their elbows and to their entire body. And if I back up, this will do the entire length of the body as well. So if you're a clothing retailer, it might be important to you to know the average length of your customer's shoulders or the average length of your customer's arms between their wrists to their elbows to their shoulders, essentially, and as well as their legs. So you can kind of discern that your average customer height is of a certain point. But we can go much deeper than that. We can also start analyzing customers' faces specifically and start diving much deeper into our customers, right? So in this system, I'm already enrolled. I just happen to call myself Self, but we have some very relevant information here. So, hi, your name is Self. My analysis says you're a male between the ages of 26 and 43. You currently have a beard. You're not wearing glasses, but most importantly, you are smiling. And we will analyze your emotions further. So all of this information is information that we can capture and then later start analyzing. So here we have about 44% calm and about 46 happy. So how was I able to accomplish this? Well, this is doable in kind of very 3 easy steps. The input image is coming in through my camera, and then that is taken through the API gateway, which is essentially just the bouncer to the backend Lambda function, which kind of handles all the processing. So the API gateway is kind of going to keep everyone that's not allowed in the backend, keep them away, essentially. Your data stream is kind of the most important piece, but it's also the easiest piece, I think. It is platform agnostic, so if you have iPhones laying around for some reason, you could strategically place them in your store and then start streaming data right away. Or if you don't have any devices, you can easily buy one in a Raspberry Pi, which we can get to in a little bit. But what's most important about this infrastructure is you can tap into your existing systems. I don't know a store between a mom-ish pop scale to a Walmart scale that doesn't have cameras within their store. All you simply need to do is start streaming that data to the backend piece and start getting some of these valuable insights, and then we can worry about the coverage slightly later. And all you need to do is just kind of have a Wi-Fi connection. The API gateway offers a high performance connectivity. So within 100 milliseconds, you're connected to the backend. With 100 milliseconds, you're sending data to be ready to be analyzed. But most importantly, this is the security piece of it. So it keeps away anyone that is not intended to be within the backend. The Lambda function is kind of what handles all the heavy lifting. The logic here is very kind of human in a way, and it's very simple in its form. So if we give it an image or a video feed, what it's going to do is going to find all the faces within that image. It's going to crop them out and have individual faces. It will then save that image to S3, and then on a different bucket, it will save all the faces to S3 as well. From there, it'll take every individual face and then run the analytics on them. So it'll say, is this face a face that I am familiar with? Or is this face a new face? Right? So we can start asking questions or start answering questions like, who is this person and what is the frequency that they have been in our store? Or if this is a new customer, so maybe I can help them out and guide their experience a little bit better. And then we'll take that data and then save that data to the backend Snowflake database. Let's kind of run through Amy's market. So we can assume Amy's a small market, and competition is starting to get pretty difficult, right? So there's Walmart opening down the stores with their revenue, and then there's Whole Foods with the backing of Amazon opening up down the street as well. And there's no way that Amy can kind of get a competitive edge. So she's kind of looking into this system. Let's assume that Amy also has no cameras within her store. So how can we provide coverage? Well, here what I have is a Raspberry Pi, which has a 3D printed case around it. And when this first originally came out, it was the world's smallest and cheapest computer. So it's around $30, and you can have a full-fledged computer in about this small of a footprint, and attached to it, you also have a camera which can handle pretty much everything that I just described to you. So for $50, we can provide Amy coverage to her front door. So this will track anyone that walks in and anyone that walks out of her store, and we can start collecting those data points. But as customers start traveling and start shopping around Amy's store, we can also continue to add more coverage to the store and continue to collect analytics in real time or near real time with about 5 cameras. We can add an additional 6th camera to the checkout counter, and this serves a very simple purpose. When a transaction completes, we can start analyzing and tying the transaction portion to the customer that the transaction completed with. So we can start tying the customer's experience within our store to the back-end transactional piece. So that's essentially how we can bring the platform to the environment and start putting it together. But now we can start talking about the customer's experience as well as the other experiences as well. So here we have John. He's a frequent customer of Amy's Market and Groceries, and he's also someone who has Amy's mobile app as well, and this is on the right-hand side here. And then we can kind of see John's purchases and his history as well. John decides to enter Amy's Market, and we notice that the camera starts to pick up John immediately as soon as he enters the store, and then John will get a notification on his phone as well. So we know that John, he likes to buy soda, bread, pasta, and rice, and John also likes to buy some beer. Right, so as soon as John walks in, we can start guiding his experience. We can start saying that the bread is in aisle 3, pasta's in 3 as well, the soda's in 2, and you can get the beer by the fridge. John probably already knows all of this information, but it's not good to send it to him. And we can also send him some other instructions as well. So we can tell him, hey, if you walk by aisle 4, you'll get a 5% coupon, right? Simply by walking by aisle 4, we'll give you 5% off. So now we can start guiding his experience a little bit further into other areas which John may not normally walk into. So that's how John goes to pick up his soda. He'll leave one camera and be in view of another camera. John will also go in, pick up his bread, pasta, and rice. Throughout this entire time, we're also capturing John's sentiment and capturing how he feels while he's also traversing through our store. Right, John goes to pick up his beer, and then it kind of completes his order. He has his soda, bread, rice, and his beer, and now his last final step is kind of going to the aisle and getting his 5% discount. So John's going to go to the aisle and get his 5% discount. But as soon as John does that, we immediately start to notice that he gets another coupon or another offer from Amy's Market. It says, if you pick up detergent, we'll give you additional discount, or that detergent is on discount. So we've sent John to the aisle, and then we've kind of guided his shopping experience a little bit more. So disclaimer, this app is incomplete but will be finished. So John's going to go pick up his detergent and then continue to complete his transaction. John completes his transaction and he's on his way out the door. Right? So we just saw a personalized shopping experience and how we can interact with the customer in maybe a little bit different way. We can also, in this application, put in ways where John can communicate back with the store, start asking questions. You know, what aisle is something, or where can I find something else? But what about Amy? What does Amy get out of this? So throughout this entire time, we have been tracking this data, and we have this data stored within our database. So that picture with my analysis that we took, we have that saved in the database along with many other points of information. And we can start asking ourselves relevant points of information. So here we can see the breakdown of males to females within our store. We can also break this down by hours and days, and then age group and gender and everything else. I'm going to get a little bit deeper into Amy's portion. I will have to build out the data piece as well. So I have some mock data that I'm going to be uploading and completing, and have the queries be a little bit more complete and concrete. I'm also going to speak to this portion as well, which kind of tells the story of how I developed this, and then speak to kind of how the same application would look on an on-prem environment, in a infrastructure as a service environment, a platform as a service environment, and then ultimately what I developed, which was a software as a service platform. And I'm going to build this out a little bit more to talk about the advantages of Snowflake and AWS as well, as they managed to work together and kind of really give me the tools that I needed to build this out. And then the last portion is I'm going to get into pricing. I was going to talk about the legal ramifications of this, but I think pricing is a much better topic to kind of get into.